Last night, our family watched The Band's Visit, a touching film about an Egyptian military band stranded in a backwater Israeli town. As the Egyptians and their Israeli hosts spend their afternoon and evening together, they begin to make small points of contact with each other. In one home, members of the band and their hosts begin to sing Summertime from Porgy and Bess. Summertime and the livin' is easy. Fish are jumpin' and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good lookin'. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. The song goes on, one of these mornings you're going to rise up singing. Then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But till that morning, there's nothing can harm you, with daddy and mama standing by. The tension in that song, meant to be an aria but sung more like the blues, comes from the conflict between an idealized summer's day and the reality outside the song, much like in the film. Summer days are when schools let out, when children play, when vacations begin. But as we are seeing in the streets of 100 American cities this week, summertime can also be the breeding ground for disease, as well as joblessness, hopelessness, and violence. As the temperature in America continues to rise, we need the Jewish values of peace and justice to guide us, even as we acknowledge our failure to ensure those values for all Americans. I often think of Dr. Martin Luther King and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel together, not only because of their friendship and their mutual admiration for one another, but also because their thoughts on justice so often coincide. In the fall of 1967, Dr. King gave a speech following summer rioting in Detroit, in which he defined those riots as a kind of desperate attempt to get the country's attention. He didn't justify the violence, but rather attempted to understand it. For his part, Dr. Heschel famously said that in a free society, some are guilty, but all are responsible. I take him to mean that while few people actually commit the crimes that seem to continually plague us age after age, our shared acquiescence in the face of decades of injustice implicates us all in that injustice. This week's violence is the result of sins that have become so deeply embedded in our society and in our psyches that we no longer even recognize their evil until its victims rise up in anger. Jews know that the Exodus would have been impossible without the destruction that the plagues brought. Yet the plagues don't bring us joy. It seems that only through the crucible of our own suffering that we are able to understand the suffering of others. Nevertheless, our plea now is for peaceful demonstration in order to pursue equality, understanding in order to banish mistreatment, love in order to vigorously pursue the Torah's words, tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice shall you pursue. Summer is now here, and we pray for the living to be easier.